And now, stand and cheer for your Talking Basketball podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Talking Basketball podcast. I am Mark.
I am Paul. What an intro, Mark. You've been busy.
That was.
You have been busy.
That was not too bad. I think that's one of the better ones we've done so far.
Yeah. Well, I've challenged Mark to come up with a new intro every now
and again.
Every now and then, and see what happens.
Yeah. So welcome everyone to another edition of the Talking Basketball podcast. And this week, once again, we're going to break down some of the games that have been happening and things around in the basketball world.
In the basketball world, but I know everyone is dying to know, Mark, where are we in the global comedy rankings for podcasts? Because this is a joke.
I don't remember. I told you, but I've forgotten.
833 in the world for global comedy. Thank you, world.
Thank you, world. I have no idea why, but thank you, world. That's really weird.
Wow, people must be laughing at this.
I am. It's one of the things that keeps you going, that's for sure.
And a huge thank you, I guess, because Mark, we're staring 10,000 downloads in the face.
It doesn't make it. Honestly, every day you look
10K.
at it, every day you look at it and you think, no, that can't be us, but it is. So thank you so much. And as always, if you haven't listened to our ones previously, go back and have a listen. But get more people sending stuff in as well. We want to get more emails. What we want.
Well, Mark, I know all our listeners, the one thing that's on their mind.
I'm not near the 250. No.
What?
No, not near the 250.
You haven't got 250 emails yet?
No, I want 250 emails. I want them.
I might just send you 250 emails.
No, because you're going to spam me and make me sign up for something.
Right. We need to resolve this. Anyone listening now, please email. What's the email, Mark?
ukbasketballpodcast@gmail.com.
ukbasketballpodcast@gmail.com. Pick a team in the BBL.
The UK's premier basketball podcast.
And Mark will have to support that team for the rest of his life. That's the rule. You agreed.
I'm getting uncomfortable
on the air. You agreed on there. Look, they're all good.
All right. I've got a tidbit for you later, and it made me so happy. So happy. Hang on, where's my hat? Oh, it's over there. That's all right. That's good. I need the hat for it. That's why.
Oh, okay.
That's right. That's
well,
good.
Let's crack on. Who's going first?
Get your crack on. You first.
Well, I always go first. You want to go first?
Go on in. I'll go first.
Oh, hang on, Mark. No. I have to go first with this.
Yeah, I thought you did.
I've just realised.
Yeah.
Hang on. I want to say a big shout out to the Surrey Scorchers. Mark, they did it. They did it, Mark. This has to be the first thing we talk about. The Surrey Scorchers. It was only a matter of time. But it's happened, Mark. They got the big W. They got the win. I'm just going to go back to some of their previous fixtures. Home to the Cheshire Phoenix, lost by 2. Away to the Gladiators, going in. Oh, I'm trying to think of a home court name for them. What's that place in Rome? The arena. What's that called? Colosseum. Yeah. They went to the Colosseum, Mark, to take on the Gladiators. They lost by 7. Then they went. The Sharks came and they lost by 3. So they're losing by nothing. And finally, it happened, Mark. Surrey against the big Giants of Manchester, and they won 98-72.
Yeah, I mean, that's what, 26 point win.
Yeah, and you know what? It's got to be said. I'm going to throw another one out here. It was too hot in the furnace for the Manchester Giants. The furnace was too much for the Giants to handle.
Do you get these out of fortune cookies?
No, I did that one as a joke. The actual furnace is its actual name. That's the nickname.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a really good name as well.
Oh, that's fantastic.
The Surrey Scorchers, the Furnace. That's a great one. And it's, we got to talk about the fact that they hit the ground running. They had a 20-point lead at halftime, Mark.
Blimey.
Abdul Mohammed for the Scorchers. Got to talk about him. 16.7 rebounds and 2 assists.
Yeah, that's massive.
He played a really good game. Justin Robinson, number 17, fantastic play. He had 23 points as well. noteworthy player. I've got to talk about this. As a guy, I don't think he had loads of court time, but I'm trying to say his surname correctly. It's the number 33, Luke Akisemi.
The weekly struggle continues.
Yeah, I know, but how would you say his surname? Akisem?
Akisemi?
Something like that. Anyway, he had a great drive, took his player on, top of the key, came through, boom, dunk. So that was really good to see. So some great highlights.
Was that a home?
That was in the furnace, Mark,
Yeah.
in the Scorchers home court.
Has you got their stats? Do you know if they lost more on the road, or was it a bigger deficit on the road or at home? You know, I like to throw you under the bus.
I have no idea.
No, I'm just curious.
If I had time to prepare for your throw under the bus questions,
that's why
I might be able to answer that.
If you haven't watched Final Destination, that set the standard. You've got to look around the corner because a bus is coming.
Yeah. Well, I'll just let that bus run over me because I don't know, Mark. But I got to say, Manchester Giants, special mention, special shout out to Austin Lawton. 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists.
Wow.
Nike. Man, I've just forgotten his name. His first name, Lewis. He had 9 points, 9 assists. But the reason those two guys, is it Nike Lewis? Have I got that right? I can't remember his first name. Bugger. But those two guys were like Lewis, like 9 points, 9 assists, almost had a double-double there. Austin Lawton, 20 points, 8 rebounds. He was 2 rebounds away from a double-double. So, you got to give a shout out to those guys. And also, double-double is not a common thing that's happening in the BBL. It is not common. Go through the games. It doesn't happen often. And the one thing I got to say, because I looked and watched this game in a bit more detail, I have to say I love the Scorchers blue kit.
Yeah,
it is great. Really what a great kit. It's like that, the blue camo. I don't know if it's a camo or it's like a blue splash thing or whatever. Either way, it looks bloody great. Love that kit.
And original. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, really, really good. And, I like to do a little bit of digging, and I have found the Scorchers through the annals of history. They have got a mascot.
Annals. Oh my God, what is wrong with you?
They have got a mascot, Mark. Scorcher the dragon. That's good, isn't it? Now, I don't know if he is... that's really good.
Scorcher the dragon.
The Surrey Scorchers, a dragon. That's a great idea.
Look, the dragon, great.
Scorcher.
I'm not sure about the names.
Yeah, it's great. Love it. Anyway, I don't know if Scorcher the dragon is...
Could have called him Blaze.
Well, or Scorcher. Anyway.
I need to percolate on that. But I love the idea of a dragon for sure. Stuff's a dragon.
But the only... I can't see... loads and loads of pictures that are recent of him, so I'm trying to work out if he's in the at the home games or not. I don't know, but
okay.
You know me, I love mascots. I think it's part of the entertainment package that comes in. So big shout out to the Surrey Scorchers. They got over that hump. We knew it was coming, and you know what? Big shout out to them. They thoroughly deserve it.
Do they deserve a round of applause again?
Yeah. So I was going to let you go first, but then when I read my first note, I thought, oh, crap, the Scorchers, we've got to talk about that.
I'm going to take one and then straight into number 2 because it's relevant.
Shoot. Oh, do we need a...
We do. Gladiators versus Sharks this week. That was a great game. That was a really, really good game. Went into overtime. And if I said... I know that they put down as Lucas... Palza, I believe. I've got it. Paliza. So Lucas, I'm sorry. He was man of the match. Great playing and really, really keeping things going. But Jalen Pipkins kept the game alive for the Sharks. Have you seen this dunk? I'm going to play this to you. Have you seen this dunk?
Mark, this is my highlight. This is my last point. I want to talk about this. That's fine. We'll both talk about it. This is a great play.
That.
From Sheffield. Mark, that's Jalen Pipkins,
yeah.
number 5.
Ooh.
Now, the note I made about that is, first of all, it looked for a brief moment like he was having trouble inbounding the ball.
Yeah, definitely.
And then Bennett, oh, crap. Hang on. What's that? How are you going to say that? How am I going to say that?
Cock.
The big man, 25 for the Sheffield Sharks. He turns around, receives the ball from Pipkins, gives the ball straight back to Pipkins. And this is the note I made. He goes down the baseline and he jumps from the edge of the key. And this is the important thing on my note. What? It looked, I think, Michael Jordan-esque.
It looked Jordan-esque, definitely.
It looked Jordan-esque.
It had that Jordan, Kobe, even Vince Carter. It had that sort of, it was very, very athletic, but also you thought, I questioned why he had the space. That's the only thing I'd say of Caledonia. Someone dropped the ball there because, look, he runs around here. There's no way he should have that space at that point. And then, boom.
I mean, that dunk is over someone as well.
So did you know that Jalen also...
Oh, God, look. Yeah, it's outside of the key.
Yeah.
That is outside of the key. It's further than I thought.
Yeah, foot on the key just as he did it. It's an absolute monster. So that... And also, did you know he hit the three-pointer that pushed them into overtime?
Wow.
He hit the clutch three-pointer that put them into overtime. So although Caledonia won, massive shout out to him for keeping them in the game, because that was frankly unbelievable. If you haven't seen the highlight, but British Basketball League have got a load of clips out there for Jalen.
That was great.
The Gladiators and the Sharks, brilliant game, and really enjoyable to watch, which flips me nicely into my second point. And I'm going to start off with a clap. And this is going out to the 2 teams in Caledonia.
2 teams?
2 teams.
Ah.
The men's and the women's team for the Caledonia Gladiators both played in the Euro Cup. Both won their games.
Nice.
First games in Europe. We were actually commenting on the show last time. The women's show was on whilst the show was going on. The women went on to win, and they were playing SL Benfica, and they went on to win 73-52, and that was an away game. That was a home game, so fantastic for them. And then the men's game, the men actually won their game 80-68 against CBU, and they're playing again tonight. So the men are playing again tonight against Anwil, and they're playing up in Scotland at home. So that'll be a great game to go and watch. But I think it was really, I just wanted to highlight that they both went in first games in the Euro Cup, and they won both of them. Both teams from Caledonia. I mean, that's a fantastic achievement for seeing UK teams going into Europe and competing at high level, because it's not easy. When we think of the BBL, we think of it as such a small sort of concentrated league, and you think they're going in there now and they're competing, the women's and the men's, and they're winning.
Yeah, that's
first
great.
game in there, brilliant.
It's great to see.
And there was one thing I wanted to show you, which was from the previous thing, and I've totally forgotten about it. So I'm going to go. So the thing I was going to show you, I forgot to show you in the previous thing. Caledonia versus Sheffield Sharks, the Gladiators, let's use their full name. On the FIBA website, have you seen this? And I'm just showing Paul an image now.
Yes.
And on the FIBA website, they show you...
Mark, where do you think I get all my stats from?
I know you probably live on this. But as a player, I'm just throwing it out there. As a player, do you want to see where you're hitting the shots, missing the shots?
This is invaluable.
Yeah.
So what Mark's showing me here is a picture of the court, and basically it's a positive or a negative mark on the court where you have shot and scored or missed.
Yeah.
That is invaluable.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? And so this goes through onto the FIBA website.
Can you pick a player and see that by player?
Go for it. Just pick anyone. Bang.
Yeah, you
there
can.
You go.
Look at that.
Now, how interesting is that data?
Okay, so you can look at that player and
and you can see where they're
3,
going
4,
offensively. I think you can do offensive and defense, and you can look at which quarters as well.
But look at that. So I'm just looking at that player, And if I was trying to play against him, make him go right, his shot percentage,
there's my
when it goes to the right,
Yeah.
he's
hitting and missing.
out of 6.
Yeah.
He's 1 for 6. All his points have come from the left-hand side of the court. I mean, that's invaluable information. That's what statisticians should be looking at.
Yeah.
And when that guy comes in, feeding that to the players or the player who is marking him. That is invaluable.
I would be interested to see, for a game like this, imagine when you have, this is Caledonia and Sheffield. They're both arenas that have got the crowd all around them. I'd be very interested to see what it'd be like if you're like Surrey Scorchers or Bristol Flyers. They've got the
wall of sound.
the wall of sound on one side only. I wonder how that affects your play, because you're hitting on the right one side, hitting on the left the other side with the crowd. That could have an effect, especially with a wall of sound like they have there. But I was looking at this thinking, is this good? Is this bad? I know this is progress, but
I would say that is fantastic.
go back 20 years, or go back to the 90s era, and that sort of era. They didn't have stuff like that. The statisticians might have been sat there beavering away, but they wouldn't have been sitting there going, he's hitting most of his shots from that. They would have just had,
I don't know,
ideas, wouldn't they? If someone's from that era, let us know. Let us know how they did it. We'd love to know. What did they do back in the 80s and stuff? Because you get a feeling of someone's hitting those things down the side. But I just saw this, and what I think, and I'm going to say this, BBL have done really well here. This is from the ticker tape on the top of the BBL website, and it says FIBA. As soon as you click into that, it takes you to this page.
And you can actually break it down play by play. That's what I really like.
It's really, really good. So, Matt, for all of the criticism that I had originally of the BBL, in how the website was usable, this is a massive step. By having this accessible and there, it means you can get some interesting
I really
data.
like the
You can geek out with this.
The volume of stats that you can get from the BBL games is great. I know when you go from NBL, like National League, the National League, when you go to, I think it's Division 2, at that point you have to have a statistician. Personally, I love to see those fouls of most personal fouls in a season. I love that one. It's like Dave Butler with 400 fouls. It's like, okay. But yeah, but so by the time you get to the BBL, they are the benchmark for stats, Mark.
Yep.
And that the quality of information that you're seeing there, just highlights that fact.
I mean, it does say on the top, live stats powered by Genius Sports. So whoever's done that,
yeah, perfect.
Great matchup, because that is really, really nice and clear. So well done for that.
This is for you.
That is for you. On to you.
Well, I'm going to talk about the Newcastle Eagles, Mark, because it's been up and
noise?
down.
Is there an eagle noise? Is that an eagle noise?
Get out. I don't know what an eagle sounds like, but they've been up and down this week. We were watching the London Lions in the Copper Box taking on the Eagles. Arguably, the Eagles should have won that. They should have won that and dealt the Lions the first L of the season.
So, are you saying they lost it rather than London won it?
Yes, I think I am. And just going back through the last couple of games, and I don't think I'm being harsh saying this to the Eagles, but I think their challenge is closing out in the fourth quarter from what I'm seeing. I mean, look, there was, I want to say 5.5 minutes left, 6 minutes left. They're up by 12. They're in the driving seat. I mean, 12 points is nothing in the world of basketball. But again, for the Eagles, it goes to that fourth quarter where they just can't close it out.
Is that a pattern? Are we seeing that as a pattern, do you think?
I think so for them this season. Yes, I think so. But you know what? They went back to the Eagles' nest. And it was the Leicester Riders. So, two great teams to watch. Definitely all-stars in these two teams. But, so I've lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it was 95-90. That's what I'm back. I'm back, Mark. And we got to talk about number 0, Ricky McGill. For the Leicester Riders, Mark, he had 31 points, 5 rebounds and 5 assists.
Nice.
Also got to mention Jordan Johnson again. His name's come up a few times on this podcast. You know, number 11 for the Eagles. 21 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Another special mention has got to be, and his name's come up a few times on the podcast, and I don't know how to say his first name, but I'm going to say Murren Thomas, number 3. He had a double-double, 22 points, 10 rebounds. So that was for the Riders. But I got to say, I think we're talking about All-Stars here, Mark. These guys got to be looking at the All-Star team.
Riders are a strong team. Riders, the games that Riders have been playing, they've been a strong team. So for them to win, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't the Eagles. No, the Riders lost.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. So they lost by 5 points. But I got to give a shout out. I do think that Sheffield Shark play by Jalen Pipkins was my favourite of the week.
Yeah.
However, this was a close second. And it was a great moment from Leicester. Corey Samuels, number 4, big number 4, got a huge block to the disappointment of big man 55 Taj Green. I've got to say, at the play, if you focus on the big man, he's looking like, hang on, I've just been fouled there. Come on, ref. He's disappointed. But anyway, Tevin Ollison, number 2, grabs that ball, goes coast to coast. And I like the fact, as he's going coast to coast, I'm trying to think of the Eagles player who it was. But anyway, he's got an Eagle player right on his back, and he's on the left-hand side of the key, right at the end of going coast to coast.
Yeah. And
he can feel that contact, and he goes up on the left, comes round to the right, underneath the basket. Beautiful. Boom. Layup, coast to coast, nice. But it wasn't enough to stop the Eagles from claiming that home court win for them.
What was that? How much by?
5 points.
I mean, it's a close game, isn't it?
They're all close games, and I'm going to get onto this later with one of my points. All the games seem to be fairly close.
Do you think Newcastle's grounds have
I don't want to
lots
say all
of
the games
sticks
close,
around the outside? Because Eagles' nests are made of sticks, and I'm just saying, they could.
It's just a name I made up, but
An Eagles' nest is called an eyrie. Do you know that? Or an eyrie.
I think the Eagles' nest sounds better than we're going to the Erie. Sounds like Little House on the Prairie, the Erie. I don't know. But it was there are a lot of close games of these teams.
Yeah,
a lot of close games.
Ironically, except the Surrey Scorchers one. They
yes,
that was 26. That was a big punch.
But on that high, they then travel to the Bristol Flyers. And they lose by 6. And it was like, oh man, look, the Eagles are here. They're here. They're on a roll. And again, Mark, I've got to say his name. Ricky McGill, number 0, 36 points for the Newcastle Eagles. Jordan Johnson, same name again. He chipped in with 17 points, but it wasn't enough to stop the Flyers from claiming the win. I've got a highlight that the Flyers had 5 players in double digits as far as points go. And T-John Lucas, number 1.
This is at Bristol, wasn't it?
This is at Bristol. He looked great. He's a great player, and he controlled a lot of the offensive play. And there was one great move where he got a steal. And at one point, I thought he was going to dunk. It, but he kind of arches his arm back, and I was like, oh, here we go, boom, and he just laid it up. But what a player they've got there. What a player he got there. Ricky McGill, Jordan Johnson, they got to be looking at potential All-Stars there, Mark. Got to be. And that was the points that I wanted to make. What are you trying to show me on this?
Purely on the score.
What have I written? 97-83. What did I say?
Yeah, you said a 6-point game.
Oh, look, mate, I'm tired.
You're tired and you haven't got your glasses on. I'm looking at your sheet and it says 97-83.
97-83. So, yes, 97-83.
What's your degree in again? Maths?
Yeah. So, look, there is some ups and downs to the Eagles, but some great talking points. Some great talking points there. And, exciting basketball.
Well, I mean, from that exciting basketball I'm going to take it a different direction.
Oh God, what are you going to say?
London Lions lost the game.
Not in the league.
No, Euro Cup.
Oh, well, we want them to win Europe. I do.
Yeah, but
who are they playing?
I'm just saying, they actually lost the game.
I know what you're saying. When I was on Facebook and it popped up London Lions, and I was like, "Oh man, someone's dethroned the king!" And then I was like, "Oh, it's in Europe. Damn."
Yeah, 106, 102. So they only lost by 4, and the team, the Paris team, they were superb. There's no question of it. I would say it went into overtime because of Sam Decker. Now, if you remember, Sam Decker is the MVP from the finals
From last year.
Yeah, he hit a 3 to go into the final stages, and I don't know if you saw that 3, but that was about as clutch as it gets. It was one of those almost a Steph Curry kind of move. I want to see if I can get it up for you now. The way, not only did he hit it, but in that crunch time, you just think, respect for that. But to lose by that, I think they lost that game. I will go to say I think they lost that game. I think they could have won it. Surprising that they didn't, but you know, I'm going to find a clip. But in the meantime, I would say massive shout out for them for doing that, getting that stage. Paris just played better. They just had a big dunk towards the end as well, and a couple of decent 3-point shots, I'd say. But it just seemed to be the Lions. Well, I don't want to ruin it for anyone watching it, but they seemed to have the game, and then they just kind of let it go, and you just think,
let it slip in the dying moments. Is that what happened?
It was just a bit of
I've not seen the highlights.
Just a bit of a shame. I'm just going to literally get to the point where you're going to see sort of some decent activity.
Oh, this was at the Copper Box.
Yeah, it was at the Copper Box
okay.
as well. And the stand of the basketball was great. This is the first overtime. Let me roll it back to around here. That's the 3. Look.
All right.
That's his clutch 3. Look. That's to tie the game, to force it to overtime.
Who's that? Big man number 7. Who's that?
That's our MVP, Sam Decker.
So I'm looking at a laptop from an angle here, so I can just see 7.
Yeah, so that's Sam Decker. And you look at it and you think,
that is clutch.
That pushed it into overtime. But then what happens is they're making all the plays and all their players are coming up, pushing forward. But this is the 3. This is the 3 that changes it.
The dagger.
Yeah, look. So look at the London are up.
Tied game.
Ties
so Paris, big 3 with 2 minutes left. Big 3.
And then check out the dunk here. And this is like, get out. Like, he just took over.
5 points. So, I mean, I'm curious before, but it's at least a 5-point turnaround. Oh, geez. So this could be a 7-point turnaround. Oh, that was and the foul, was it?
That was and the foul. So then that was last stage foul. Get 1.
5 seconds left.
2, 5 seconds left.
4-point game. 5 seconds left. Forget about it.
And that's it. Look. But fair play to him for hitting those 2s as well. Because you go...
But you got to look at that...
Miss one of them and then jacking someone up at the end. I think, yeah.
London were winning.
They were winning.
And it was a 7-point turnaround. So, yeah.
Yeah, so they actually
threw it away.
Clutch
play by Paris.
Yeah, really, really good to see. Not to see them losing in that sense, but good to see that their caliber as a team is Europe ready. There's no question of that. They are a good quality team. But they're beatable. And that's, I think, really important for all of the BBL teams to see. Whether they took their foot off the gas, whether they got complacent. I don't know what it was, because they were at home and they thought, this, Paris are coming to us. I don't know what it was, but they just lost that game. And it was right there. They were fighting all the way up, and to have clawed their way back into an overtime. Anyway, so commiserations to the Lions, but you're doing all right domestically at the moment. So
they're dominating domestically, Mark, and that is going to take me to my next point.
Yes, sir.
Is that good for the league? And the reason I wanted to talk about this, because I've had a few people comment to me about maybe the way we phrase stuff, or you've had a few emails come in about it saying, some of the way we phrase stuff, we're like, oh man, like I've done on this podcast. Oh man, we thought we saw the first L come.
Yep.
And I just want to highlight our view on it is there is so much that is right with the London Lions, but where we're coming from is we want to see an exciting league, an exciting finish to league, and it is. However, and this is what I'm going to say, and this is where I was getting last week, which is why a few people commented. If the Eagles don't beat them in the Eagles' Nest, upcoming game, they're 11-0. Is the season over?
Yeah.
I mean, is the season over? Like, you know, in second place, you've got, who is it? Bristol?
Yeah.
Bristol Flyers. I mean, I can't see that from here. How many losses they got? 3?
Yeah. 6-3. They
got 3. So they've played just over a quarter of their season. They got 3 losses. The Lions are going to have something serious happen.
Yeah.
And this is where this question that came up that we were talking about, the team budgets. And we were like, is that why they're so dominant? Because I don't know how to phrase it. Is budget the right word? Is it?
Is the fact the people who own the league own them?
No, but I mean, like, I think that, say, the budget they have for that team, and what they're, I'm guessing, paying the players or the players they can attract to the club, I think there's probably a big void between that and everyone else.
Yeah, and this is not to disrespect any of the other players, because there are some standout players on each and every team, no question. The difference is, with the Lions, you don't have 1 or 2 high caliber players. You have 6 or 7 high caliber players.
They're dominating.
Yeah.
But they're now 11-0.
Well, you brought up today, actually, the fact that the actual league has had loads of movement this week, and people have been reshuffling and moving around. But actually, for all of the shuffling and that sort of stuff, London just sit at the top. It's going back to our old statement of there's almost 2 leagues. You have a top 1, maybe 2 teams, and then you have everyone else. And that, I mean,
and I said that to you really early.
Yeah,
and I've been joking saying oh, sorry, I apologise. They're 10-0, not 11-0.
No,
sorry, they'll be 11-0 if they beat the
11-0,
Eagles.
yeah.
That's where I'm coming from. And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, can you remember, what year would it have been?
1827.
No, it wasn't 1827. I'm thinking Formula One. When you had, at Red Bull, you had Vettel and Webber. At Ferrari, it's got to be early 2000s. You had at McLaren, you had Hamilton and Jenson Button.
That was 2008.
Okay, at Ferrari, you had Alonso and I've got Messi in my head. Massa.
You're talking probably
2004, 2005 maybe? I don't know.
No, 2008, 2009,
this
2010,
is before
2011.
Yeah, this is before like Vettel just on his way of dominating for that 4-year period.
Well,
anyway, I loved Formula One.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, when it turns to the point where it's like Red Bull on pole, they're just going to drive around and they're going to win. People and all of the focus is on
2012,
and all the focus is on 3rd and 4th or the 5th and 6th. Those great races that they're having, and very similar to Hamilton dominating.
It's not the first time
5 years.
It's not the first time we've talked about the parallels between this and Formula One.
Yeah.
And I think the interesting thing is, because Formula One is a league of one, you don't get, if you come bottom next year, off you go again.
Yeah.
You don't get demoted or anything like that. It's you're in it or you're not. And I think that's what, and with the same thing, who has the money and who has the investment and who has the backing. And Formula One's the same thing. It's like, it doesn't matter who. Sauber have engines from Ferrari, great, but they're not backed by them. So they are not in the same tier.
You can see the correlation of what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And I loved Formula One. And I used that in the past sense.
Yep.
Because I loved watching it, but I love to watch exciting racing. And when someone's on pole and it's like, okay, they're going to win. Like if you look at Verstappen this season, I mean, he's won.
That was a good attempt at his name.
How do I say it?
Verstappen.
When the Dutchman has won,
The Flying Dutchman.
I mean, how many races has he not come first? I think it's like 2 or 3. I mean, when you have that dominance, I do think you'll lose spectators because they go, oh, he's on pole. All right, okay.
Well, they did ask Michael Jordan, is it the shoes?
Yeah. Well, and I got to tie that correlation to the BBL standings. And that's why, and that's hopefully what explains why when we see the Lions, it's not a fact that we don't like the Lions.
No.
We want the league to be interesting. And the only way the league's going to be interesting for that championship is if the Lions start picking up some losses.
Yeah, and also I'd like to see them as in not that they are losing, but I want to see the other teams winning. And I think that's the important thing. Every time you say, oh, the Lions are going to be playing someone, it's like, well, we pretty much know the inevitable score. So that's why it'd be nice to see, oh, someone overturned them, which was why when Paris came and they overturned them. And I think in hindsight, the Lions will look back and say, we should have won that game. Once we got it into overtime, Paris were very dominant. They're a great team. There's no question. You're not taking anything away from either team. But at one point, it was theirs and they just didn't have enough in the tank, which was almost what we see in the league with other teams against the Lions. They've just got more depth.
And if you look at the last, I'm just looking through the last 5 games here. So they beat Surrey by 12.
Yeah.
They beat Sheffield by, 16. They beat Newcastle by 5. That was the close one. They beat Cheshire by 19. They beat Giants by 5. There are those close games when people can do it.
And yet, when we look at the table about where people are standing, so I did table last week, you can do table this week. Where are Newcastle? And they got a really close game with the Lions. But where are they sitting?
They're 7th. Yeah. They're 7th, currently 7th in the league.
Yeah.
I mean,
and yet they ran them so close.
Some of them have played less games than the Lions.
Yep.
So, that is going to change. If you look at someone like, I think it was Caledonia, they've only played 6 games so far.
Yeah,
so,
Leicester's on 7.
But you know what? That hopefully explains that point, why we're looking at the Lions going, you know what, it'd be good if they lose because the league will be more exciting.
Which is a beautiful segue to my next point.
Oh, right. Okay.
BBL are going transatlantic.
I know. Mark, I know this.
Now, I am happy to admit I was completely, why are they doing this? And there's a few memes.
This is huge.
There's a few memes that are floating around.
Huge.
And on the surface, it sounds ridiculous. But bear with us because I think, as you say, this is pretty huge. So for those who don't know, the BBL are actually now going to be shown, not just on Sky Sports that you announced a little while back, but they're going to be on this new sports network. The funny thing about this, well, I say not a new sports network, but it's called NESN.
NBC Sports, regional network.
Wow. NESN is a really interesting one. It's called the New England Sports Network. And this is owned, the NESN is owned part by the people who own Boston Red Sox, Liverpool, and Pittsburgh Penguins, but also by a company called Delaware North, who happen to own, amongst other things, the Celtics, TD Garden, and the Boston Bruins. So this whole network is designed for sports coverage. So the idea of the BBL going over to them is very much the BBL as a package, and it's an entertainment package. It's a product. And that answers many, many, many of our questions about why things were put the way they were on a website, why things are pitched a certain way. It all makes sense when you suddenly look at the BBL as a standalone league, as a product. And then putting on this network, you think this is great. So now they're going to have Sky broadcasting, still have highlights and games on YouTube. And they're also going to now have games on NESN. So that's quite interesting.
Well, I think it highlights that the BBL, the owners of the BBL are pushing what's the right word? Not the expansion, but the size of the league. They want to push it.
Yeah.
I mean, of course they do. And that's great. That's great. And if there's an audience in America that then starts getting involved, I mean, that's only going to do the BBL, a service. The only thing I did wonder is we've been to America. We've seen what basketball broadcasting is like over there.
Yeah.
Could NBC Sports be the junction of where we go to watch BBL? Because if they're doing what we're used to seeing in basketball when we're over there, that might be. I think it's what Sky Sports should be doing, if you know what I mean.
Just for clarity, anyone listening, always that excited about this, I think he thinks he's going to be doing the announcing himself.
I am well up for that.
You're open to offers, are you?
Yeah. Yes.
Would you commentate, or would you just?
I will do whatever they need, Mark.
Really? Mascot?
Whatever they need. Yeah.
NESN mascot.
Teas, coffees.
British representative in North America.
Yeah. I imagine they want someone better than I.
Oh, God, look at you looking for praise. But it is exciting that it is going to branch out. And if you're going to test it anywhere, why not test it in North America? Because that's the biggest market for basketball.
Yeah.
So, that is really their test run. Now, the CEO, obviously, of the BBL at the moment is an American gentleman as well. That has experience with the networks and has experience with like the NBA and professional basketball. So it'd be very interesting to see how this product develops. But that's why the Lions, I think, are such a important figurehead for the BBL. Because outside of the UK, a lot of people, if you said, my friend lives in London, do you know him? The amount of times I've had that, and I've been in different countries, like, you know how far away that is and how many people are here? But London is the one that everyone knows in the UK. So it does only make sense that the Lions are held up. Now, of course, if they get dethroned and there's a new champ on the block, well, then that's, or as you mentioned, there's a rivalry perhaps that they can promote. That would be really exciting.
With Sky Sports?
Any of them.
Well, yeah, that was the first thing when I read this news. I thought, wow, that could be great for a fan. And I go to a channel and I'm watching it like I'm getting news like you would for, like, if you go on Sky Sports News and the football and any other sport. And I just thought, wow, that's what you want from a basketball sense.
Well, it's going to be Thursdays and Fridays. They're going to do the shows out in the States.
Well, we'll have to see.
Yeah, it will be interesting because we have a lot of games. Obviously, we do the podcasts sometimes early midweek, usually, to try and capture all the games that are through the end of the week and the weekend. So they're going to be doing games as at the start of the week almost. So we're the prequel to them, so to speak.
I mean, I agree. I think it's great for the BBL, and it's widening the reach of British basketball, isn't it?
Be interesting to see who else picks it up. If it is successful there, be interesting to see who picks it up.
Can I also confirm, Mark, and I know people have been asking about this, I haven't yet received a reply back from Sky Sports yet, but I am checking my mailbox daily.
What are they? What's the reply?
I haven't had a reply yet.
You haven't?
To my long email about what they could do.
Wipe that from my memory.
Right. Great news.
Over to you.
Thank you very much for listening to this episode. That is the end of this part. But do not worry, because coming soon is the second part of this episode, and it will be available soon.